welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today we're working on this project. It's a candle ornament. So I took a loop of dark string and just kind of attached that, and I added 3 strands of yellow floss. I cut them in thirds again, just made it bracelet length. It didn't need to be quite that long for sure, but I wasn't sure how long I was going to make the candle part itself, and just kind of went with it. Then I went 3 things of orange. At first I was going to just put on like all 3 at once and realized that wasn't going to work out very well. So I tried to find a way of getting like all 3 on there and kind of bring it around so it would make the fire part. So it's supposed to be yellow. The yellow is the higher part of the flame, and then the orange. And then I tried to think of like, what color was I going to make the candle? And I was thinking that if this was going to be something that got hung on a tree, right? Tree being green, I wanted a strong contrast. I wanted it to be kind of Christmassy because, you know, it's making an ornament after all. And kind of got a little bit sloppy with the knots and the way of going around this thing. But to me, that kind of helped to add to the fire. Isn't just a straight thing, right? It's kind of, so I kind of bunched it up a bit and kind of made a little mess of it. But that looked to me more like a flame than anything. Then I came and I took 6 strings of the red. So basically bring this whole thing up to 12 strings. And at this point, I'm kind of carefully choosing as I go around, because I want to hit all of the strings all the way around. Mind you, I doubled up the floss, but I'm trying to make sure that I hit them all so that way I can make a cylinder. And at this point, it becomes like an alpha. It slowly works its way down, but each knot that I tie, I'm making sure that I'm bringing it all the way up to the top. And it's a little bit dodgy of how, like, everything is rotating. All the other strings are rotating. So I don't have to really worry that any other string is getting tangled, as long as the one that is making the knots is okay. So as I went along, there were points where, because of it just constantly rotating, everything else started to get into a bit of a jumbled mess. But that didn't matter, because all you do is just pick up part of the string, tie to it, and then go on to the next one. So try not to get too worried or too obsessed over that part. But the part that you do have to watch is that you're making sure that the knots are coming all the way to the top, because you're wanting to make sure that you're not letting glimpses of yellow or glimpses of orange to show, because this is supposed to be the candle now, and not, the flames like coming down through it. It wouldn't look right. So just keeping on it and just being cautious, make sure that I'm going in the right order, watch the strings as they come. And again, just keep rotating, which probably added to how long the whole thing took. I probably made the whole thing in about an hour, maybe slightly more, but and it could have been longer. I could have, instead of, so there was 6 strings of yellow and orange and then 6 more of the red. I could have increased that number and had a bigger cylinder, which would have made a much fatter looking candle, which I think would be pretty cool. Like if you bumped it up to like double this, maybe up to like 24. And the reason I tied the red around the other ones was where the flame meets the candle. I noticed like there's like a real distinct barrier there, like it's kind of the candle sort of squared off, and the flame is smaller than the candle itself. So I was trying to kind of create that by bringing all the other colors in really tight and go that way. But yeah, this could have definitely been a bigger cylinder. It would have been really, really kind of cool to have tried. But again, all these ornaments are basically prototypes, just trying an idea, seeing how it turns out, sharing with you what I learned from those ideas and possible ideas of like how we could maybe do these things different. So if you do this and you want to try adding a bit more string to it, that's cool. Eventually here, the string that I'm using gets kind of short. So what I do is I come around to where the other red is, and then I use a back knot from the string I'm going to start using instead. I go back over the one that's getting too short and then go forward again, and it makes it seamless. So you don't even see the short one becomes one of the ones that's coming down. And I did that for at least 4 of the strands to get it to this length, but I could have gone all 6. So I could have definitely brought the candle down a whole lot more. And again, if we had gone with more red being added, I could certainly have made up for the fact it would be bigger around with being able to change out more strings. So that's kind of part of what goes into this thing. It doesn't take too long. It's not very difficult. I think a beginner could do it as long as you're, keeping those knots consistent, nice and tight and up against the top. I think you'll be just fine. I went with, so the yellow and the orange were both fluorescent colors because I kind of thought that would make it look brighter, and I like that. And yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty cool. So, but it is kind of repetitive, like the whole going around and around. Yeah, that part kind of gets a little old because nothing is changing. There's no changes in the pattern or whatever. And then at the end, all I did was an overhand knot to just bring the whole things together, which I don't know if there's... I tried to imagine like how else I could maybe finish it. One possibility was taking like a chopstick or something and just, cut the strings short and shove them up inside of the candle, and then, just a bit of glue or something so that way you don't see the orange and yellow on the tail of it. But I'm not, I kind of want to make it so like anybody could do this and it wasn't going to be, too difficult or whatever. I didn't want you guys to have to worry about what kind of glue you had or how to do all that. So if that's something you want, you try different, like I'd love to see some other outcomes of it. But I think in a way it's kind of cool, it kind of looks like you're burning the candle at both ends, which, but still, you hang this with the other ornaments, it is going to look like a candle in the tree. And I think that's kind of a cool look. So. Yeah, and I kind of question later on, like there's 2 oranges, then 3 yellows, then 1 orange, and then off to the red side again. I kind of was thinking that like maybe if I had kind of organized it at the beginning better, that maybe that could have been a little bit, 3 yellow, then the 3 orange, then well, it'd be 5, right? You'd be going over 5 because you have the 6 red in your hand. So I was wondering if that would make it easier or not. But again, that's just like one of those things where when I was doing it, I just went with the strings that were kind of already sitting in a position where it was nice and easy to get that original roundness to it. So at some point I did change the clip to something that didn't quite squish it down so much because I was afraid that maybe I was kind of, making it a little bit boxy by having flattened out the bit. But it turned out all right. It's, mind you, it's so tight. Like it doesn't flex much, which is cool. Again, you don't want it to be sloppy or whatever. So I think it would also be kind of cute if you made some kind of a, I don't know, like using a paper cup and just kind of trim it down a bit so it looked like there was like a stand for the candle to be on. Um, you know, something that, like, yeah, there's the other clip that I had. So here's me tying the knot, and it's just an overhand knot. Just pull everything through and try to clean it up, give it a little snip. So hopefully you enjoy making this for yourself. I had a good time making it. I think it's a really neat idea. I've never seen anybody else do it before. So yeah, hopefully you guys get a kick out of it, and hopefully you like it. I think I did pretty cool. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out with me. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.